welcome to another episode of Meet the Artist. Today we're here with a conscious, positive, motivational speaker, artist. What's the other word I was looking for? Philosophical individual. Yeah, how you doing, Ace?
I'm good, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad for the call up. Hood consciousness, and it, like, the whole name itself aligns with what the hood needs. You understand what I'm saying? And I respect it as well, because there's loads of podcasts for entertainment, innit? We need to be dealing with like education, and transformation and growth as well.
This platform's definitely about substance,
exactly,
and awareness and education. What was I going to also say? Basically, from your content, I noticed that you're a very conscious person. This is why we've been eager to get you on the platform as well. Can you just give us a bit of background? I understand that you're an artist and you do music. Can you give us a background of your musical journey and how it's helped you develop to this point? And how did it start in the first place?
When I grew up in a kind of a Rasta family. So I used to play classical guitar as a youngster.
Okay.
So I learned to play the guitar first. My dad's a musician. My dad's a composer. He can compose for orchestra.
Okay.
So I grew up in my house with like guitars and bongo drums and them things there. You get me? And then the artists that I grew up on, the Burning Spear, the Peter Tosh, the Garnet Silk coming down further, you get me? The Luciano. These men don't do foolish music.
These conscious.
These men do
very conscious artists.
These musics change the world. They're not. This is message music now. So the philosophy of these guys, which they actually got from the scriptures, is that when somebody does music, they have to present it in a specific way. Because in the scriptures, only the priests used to do music. You have to be a priest to do music. Anyone couldn't just get up and do music in the scriptures.
Yeah, makes sense.
So this is the philosophy I'm coming into music with from the beginning. Playing classical instruments and doing that kind of stuff, and then playing in a reggae band. And then I got to a place of pirate radio, which some of the man might know about. I used to be on Hot 92 with Brasco.
Okay.
You get me? Me and Brasco were like partners from before he got on radio. No one doesn't know this, but this is the reality of it, from the little karaoke machines in your house when you're spitting. And then he went on radio before me, and he was begging me to go on radio for ages, but because my parents were strict, I couldn't go. Radio was a mad thing back then. It's in some dusty flat in the middle of the night, and you 12 o'clock to sit. And my dad don't want me to go there because just the environment alone. So I couldn't really get on radio till I left home. But that was my first, like, people know me now. Ace1 as an MC. Me and Brasco and Metzi. You get me? Big up all of them, car. That was a foundation.
You know what's mad? You kind of brought me back, because I used to listen to them sets as well. You know what I mean? So it's brought me back to like a place of music. And then you talking about how your father was, and the classical and the consciousness of the Rastafarianism shows your uniqueness as well in today's time, because there's a lot of Rastafarians had a lot of, like you said, philosophies and ways of living. You know what I mean? Which kept order with it in their household.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Which now today, a lot of those morals and principles are being lost.
So
that makes a lot of sense, bro. As I just move on to the next question, just bear with me because I got a few here.
Now there's the next part of the journey. Quick, I want to interject in.
Okay, go ahead.
I went from pirate to then I linked up with my little cousin. Deadly.
Okay.
NODB was like, I was the first older to take them under my wing. Me and AD, DJ AD is like my people. He was like our manager, and then I saw my cousin doing his thing, and I says, I'm gonna start endorsing these youths, because at that time they were youths.
Makes sense.
So when the NODB thing started to come up, just at the start of it, I kind of joined it as an elder. I was like a little guiding member.
Mentor as well.
Yeah, like a little elder to them, you get me?
So Ox is your family as well,
Ox is my family, this is what I'm saying.
Very close. Oximus, if you don't know what I'm talking about.
Sick rapper. Sick rapper,
I produced from a few tracks.
There you go. So that was my journey. That at the NO is like two different stages. Pirate radio, one generation, and then with these youths, NODB. That was them two are like big parts of my musical journey.
So what made you now push yourself now to put out your own thing now? Because obviously you said that you was a mentor to them. Yeah. But like I said, when I went onto your Instagram, I seen the biggest freestyle. We're gonna give you his Instagram at the end, so just keep viewing. So what made you think, you know what, I need to spearhead my own journey, musical journey, and get my own content out there?
Well, through the journey of spirituality that started in my house.
Yeah.
Cause when you're around Rastas, that was a generation that was seeking. They were seeking. That's why you have to remember, we're talking about the diaspora now. People have come taken from Africa. We know the story. They've gone to Jamaica and we've come here. And then you go to your nan's house and there's all these pictures of Europeanized versions.
Like a white Jesus and so forth and so forth.
Yeah, so this now has, black, where am I in this? So that philosophy was in my house. So I had a lot of books around me.
Okay.
So even from my house, it was in my house that I first learned about the 10 Commandments and something called the Sabbath.
Okay, yes.
Saturday Sabbath. The day that Yeshua went to church. Which we don't really follow now.
No, we don't.
But that's what I learned. So that was the foundation. We must have morality. We must have a standard to live by, the 10 Commandments. We must have order. Because even Selassie teaches that in his books.
Definitely.
You see what I'm trying to say? So that was the start of my spiritual journey. So I stopped music for a while to pursue that because I realized how serious it was. Because to me, when someone goes to study a degree and they take like 3 years out. I believe when it comes to spirituality, the same effort has to be put in. You can't just sit on YouTube with a spliff and a red stripe and think, you understand everything because you've watched a few videos. You've got to put the work in and dig.
I've got a line what I say in a poem, and it says that you can study a degree, but you have to live life to understand the degree of the universe.
All right, then. All right. So that effort, I took time out from music to put that effort in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And as I was putting that effort in, I came to certain understandings, which I almost feel like coming back now was just a calling. Like this hood consciousness is a calling really to me. When I look at this podcast, it's what the hood needs. They might not even know that they need it. But if we look around, we can see.
Definitely.
We need righteousness in our community. We need order.
Yeah, definitely. Because you just gone on to the next question, what I was just going to ask you, which was about your spiritual journey and how do you get to that? How did you get to that point? But you've kind of answered a few questions
in one.
in one, you've answered two questions in one. But so going to the spirituality, and because you've kind of answered a few things there, what do you feel the community is lacking?
The community is lacking orderly families and the presence of righteous men. Yeah. And because of that, it kind of spirals onto other things. Because if you see certain women feeling like they have to be independent, if you was left with 4 kids by 2 baby fathers, would you not have to do everything yourself? So it creates this mentality where, well, I don't need nobody because I've had to do everything myself anyway.
Puts them in their masculine, innit?
So we have to realize that the lack of order leads to a lack of standards. Now,
that's very true.
If we have a creator, which is my worldview, we come from a creator. He's the person who gives us the standard for what a man's supposed to be.
Yes.
We've lost that because some of us don't even think there is a creator. So there's no standard for what a man's supposed to be, so we just do what we want.
That's true.
We serve our fleshly nature. Oh, it's okay to have 10 women. We sing it in some of our songs. These messages are playing, oh, dog like me, no disrespect being a man because I rate ya.
Wouldn't you say that that's a cultural thing which has been passed down from the generations before as well?
Definitely, bro. So you're less of a man if you have one woman.
Yeah.
In the ideology of certain philosophies that have been passed down in our traditions.
And you know what's funny as well? I think the dynamic, to add to what you're saying, I think the dynamics in regards to our children is messed up. We promote, both the father and the mother will promote to the son to be promiscuous from young, but they don't realise the training the psyche that way.
Sorry, bro. This is deep because it feeds into attachment.
Yeah.
How are you gonna have all right then? How are you gonna have a secure attachment, or you didn't have a secure attachment with your father, and you're supposed to go into a relationship and demonstrate secure attachment? How?
Definitely.
The home is the first school.
It is.
That's where you learn your morals, your principles, and your values from.
100%.
Now, if you have individuals with no morals, principles, and values, what are you passing down?
Passing down trauma.
You're passing down trauma.
And dysfunction.
No order. So that's why we've got this saying that we say, you know, and it's interesting the way we say it because it shows where our minds are. Like, people hate the word religion because of how it's being used to control.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But religion just means a set of beliefs. If you hate religion, you need to understand you hate order. Because every human being needs a moral compass and a set of beliefs. No one's not saying which one, and the point is nature has order. They have the law of gravity. Nature teaches us this. If me or you jump off a building, the law of gravity says what? We're both dead.
Yeah.
And there's no partiality to that law, and that's what truth is like. But you see us now, we've got this attitude where I don't like that, and it's a form of control, and I'm spiritual, and we say all these things to get away from order and rules.
Yeah. But then, in my experience now, as being a father, I realise it's my obligation to apply that order to my family.
I'm going to say amen.
But by design of the system, this is one thing where I realise it's a societal thing and blame needs to be taken. Accountability needs to be taken, but blame needs to be taken out of it, because it's like you can't fault someone for something what they've never been taught or never had.
Definitely.
There's that analogy. If you take a fish out of water and put it on land, can you then really and truly judge the fish for what its capabilities are? It's not in its right environment to perform. You get it? But I was just adding to what you were saying. If that
analogy is deep, and it's interesting because who defines what the fish is supposed to be? The creator of the fish.
Yeah.
So the only way we're going to find the true order is if we seek for the creator.
That's 100% true.
This is the problem. Because remember, if we have a creator, we was made in his image. We're supposed to act like him and behave like him. He has order. You follow what I'm trying to say? So to function with no order means you're more out of harmony with the creator. And this is where it comes, like what you said as a father. You understand what I'm saying? You might say to your children, don't touch that fire. That law is a protection.
Yeah. 100%.
And you will probably do anything to stop your child from touching that fire.
Touching the fire, yeah.
And it's a law though. But is it good? Yes, it's good because it protects your child.
Yes.
So this ideology that we don't like order and laws because they've been used by other people to oppress us is not the correct philosophy. The best thing you can do is seek the right order and laws for you and your family.
That's true.
But not reject all order. Because a kingdom can't function without order, and we are supposed to be kings.
100%. And then that's why we've got a lot of lost youths and a lot of lost people our age as well and older. Do you know what I mean? I think we're touching off screen about, I wanted to discuss about the generations and how I can see it's kind of set by design. So a lot of us didn't really have present fathers through our upbringings. But then we could look at them fathers and say, well, your dad was there. So how come you can't be a dad to me? But what I've realised from my family is that when I talk to my granddad, which I've got the privilege to do so, is that he will say to me, I was working 6-7 jobs. So if he's working 6-7 jobs, then bringing back all these brown slips and giving it to my grandmother, what kind of trauma was he going through, and was he experiencing, which probably came out in beating women, being overly abusive and stern with your kids. You get what I'm trying to say? And then that's had an impact on the women of that generation, because now they're silenced, and then the females under that woman look and think, I don't want to be that. You get it? So then the next generation comes, it's not only just on the men as well, it's a balance between the masculine and the feminine.
Of course.
You get what I'm trying to say? So even though a lot of men are lost and a lot of women are going through the struggle, it's a balance for the men to take accountability, like, yo, we need to be there, but then also we need the space to be there, because some females now are indoctrinated in a certain way, like, I don't need a man, I don't need you here. You get what I'm saying? And then they would sing a different story to the community that he doesn't come and check for his child.
Okay.
So there's different stories
different stories.
You know what I mean? And different narratives. So I'm not trying to say that it's like I said, blame needs to be taken out of the equation. Because if two kids are having a fight at school, and you have to kind of teach both kids the trigger point of why they got into the fight in the first place.
Yes.
Even if it seems if one individual was a bit more right than the other, you still need to say, well, even though you was right, how you behaved come to this conclusion and this result. And yeah, you was wrong in that sense to trigger this person in that way, but then you need to learn to behave in a better way to navigate for a better outcome.
Okay. One of the things I've noticed in the black community is that we're afraid of commitment.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, marriage, I'm pro-marriage.
Me too.
Marriage is on the attack right now.
100%.
Because people are saying there's no gender. That's a direct attack on the Most High's order.
Yeah,
if you follow what I'm trying to say.
I agree.
Now, if we, as men and women, tapped into what marriage and what it really means, why it was given, we'd be covenantal. And let me explain what that word means. You make a contract with the Most High and before witnesses, and what you're saying is, I am going to look after this woman in sickness and in health, and it for better, for worse.
Yeah.
Now let me give you a basic illustration. When a woman gets pregnant, she's out of action for 9 months.
100%.
Even if she is an independent woman, she needs somebody to look after her when she's pregnant.
That's true.
And she has to be able to trust you 100%.
That's true.
So you not think she's going to test you to see if you can do that first?
Yes, she will.
Wouldn't you do that? That's wise.
Yeah.
What we do is see all those tests and run off.
100%.
And what I'm saying is that is a part of righteousness, being covenantal.
Yeah.
So we need to, as men, one of the solutions we can do is set up a few men's groups
100%.
so we can sit down and actually reason about these things and people can understand what, because people just say it's a piece of paper.
Yeah. I think it goes beyond a piece of paper, to be fair.
You understand? That's how people understand it.
My knowledge now is that when you lay down with a woman, you are actually forming the paper. You're marrying.
You've consummated. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
You've consummated. You're with her. Yeah. That view is there. So the reality of it is, then imagine then. So if a man's running around laying down with bare women, so he's married to all of them.
Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, we have to seek a better way, a way of order in doing things. And we have to start with the family. That is the first school.
You know what's funny? I want to add to what you're saying, because I was with a young individual who's becoming a father the other day, and he, you go through a lot of feelings as a man. You probably reject it, denial. Then it's like, I'm going to step up. Then it's like, whoa, this is too much for me. So I had to break it down to him. I goes, listen, from my experience where I've made mistakes and I've been successful in other areas, you got to realize that you are becoming that woman's father. You know what I mean? And I'm saying, as I'm talking to you, I've learned this over a long period of time, and I'm very wise, but I've made a lot of mistakes to become wise. It's a heavy price.
Yeah.
So I think that's what needs to be happen. That's what's lacking. The
education,
the passing down from generation to generation, the real education of existence of life.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You could be a mathematical genius, but where are you going to really apply that in life? If you can't equate what's happening between you and your woman, or you and your friend group, you know what I mean? Different areas of your life.
And then to add to what you're saying, there's the level of intimacy. Because one thing we don't realize is everything starts in the mind. Everything starts in the invisible. Can you see your thoughts? No. Do you believe in them?
100%.
You believe in them, though, innit? Because you have them in your mind.
I more know them.
You know them. There you know them.
Yeah.
So the point is, if you're going to genuinely be intimate with somebody, you know what the reality of it is you got to empty them thoughts onto the table for them to see. You need to let them be able to see your thoughts. Now, when men are told not to share their feelings, how are you going to do that?
By restricting your thoughts and your emotions, suppressing them.
There you go. So therefore, you can't have this genuine intimacy now. You don't want to tell the person what you're really thinking because you're afraid they might throw it back in your face.
Yes. Or it comes out like a can of pop, like a shaking can of pop, because you're shaking it, and it comes out everywhere. Then it's like, look at this mess what you've created. So then how the person feels is then subsided as well.
Exactly.
You get it?
So we struggle as men then to have that genuine intimacy because we're afraid to share our feet or to be vulnerable. That's the word. Because love takes vulnerability.
Definitely.
If you're going to genuinely love someone and be intimate with them, your minds need to connect.
Definitely. But then that goes back to our culture. Because imagine growing up, I can give you a side from my journey where I'm getting very close with a woman, and then it's like I'm stepping away probably from my brotherhood and from my brethrens.
Yes.
And they're like, you whip, man. You whip. I'm not going to say the P word on here, but you whip, man.
Yeah.
You whipped. And then inside, intrinsically, I feel like I'm doing the right thing. But then on reflection of everything outside of me, I'm doing the wrong thing. And we all desire to fit in. So I feel that's something what also needs to be addressed as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because it hinders the growth of family.
Of family, definitely.
Yep.
Definitely. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the next question, what I've got here, which is, how did you become so philosophical and come to this point of enlightenment? You've kind of touched on the home, but what experiences outside of the home would you give to somebody if they said, how did you get there? Like, because it's not easy. Everybody looks at certain people and think they know it all, but if they ever knew what they went through, you will understand why they got that knowledge.
I was the start I was kind of blessed with from home because I had a lot of books. So that gave me the first for being a seeker after righteousness and truth.
Yeah.
But when I left home, I was convicted by, I would say, the Most High now.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was the Most High then. But
Okay.
I was convicted of the Most High now that you're not living righteously.
Yeah.
You believe in me, but the way you live doesn't demonstrate that you believe in me, because people don't like this word belief. But let me break down belief in a basic way. Belief is basically a word that comes from faith, and faith is based on evidence. People think it's not. It is.
Yeah.
Give you an example. You jump on a plane. You don't know you're going to get to the next country. You got faith that the driver's going to take you there
That's true.
because the plane's got there a few times before.
Yeah.
So the evidence of the plane always getting there, like if you was to do a probability test, when the plane drives to Uganda, it gets there most of the time.
100%.
There's less times that it's crashed. So you have faith that the plane's going to get there.
Yeah.
That's your evidence.
So do you feel...
So I went on a journey of seeking righteousness based on that.
Okay.
Because I concluded that there is evidence.
Makes sense.
It's not this blind thing that people think it is.
Yeah.
So let me seek what that evidence is.
Makes sense.
Based on creation. Because that's the first bit of evidence, you know.
Yeah.
The same way we look at a clock and we never see the man who made it, but we know it was made.
You know it was
We
made.
just look and think that was made.
And nature itself.
There's order.
If you study nature.
If you study nature, it's a book.
Yeah. The elements
Nature,
show you.
They show you. The sun is a certain distance from the planet. If the sun was 1 inch closer, we'd burn. If the sun was 1 inch further away, we would freeze to death.
Yeah.
The Most High knows exactly what he's doing. So I was seeking a relationship with that person.
Makes sense.
Because it's a person.
Yeah.
It's a being. He might not be a human being.
Yeah,
but he's a being.
It's an entity.
It's an entity.
Yeah.
So what is he like? What's his character like? How does he want me to live? That search began, and that search, the way I took on that search is like I was at uni studying for a doctorate.
Yeah.
And that's how I became more and more philosophical, because I seeked and I kept seeking until I found
the discipline. And the
discipline.
And the hunger.
Yeah.
To learn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And understand.
Yes, bro.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
That was the journey, and the journey continues.
So, do you know, like, some people from their home, I come from a Rastafarian background with you, so I can actually resonate with...
relate to what I'm saying.
Most of the things what you're saying.
Yeah.
But imagine you've got, like, a child out there and their parents didn't have such spiritual and strong knowledge and they didn't pass that down. What advice would you give to them?
That young person needs to seek the same way. Now, they can seek through nature.
Yeah.
They can seek through books too. A lot of people hate the book version because they say a man made a book.
Yeah.
But let me just give you a quick illustration about the book that I think is deep. You know, when you're talking to your child as a father, you have to break down things into their language, correct?
100%.
So if the Most High is going to talk to us, he can't talk as the Most High. He has to use a human to talk to us in our language so we understand. It's the same philosophy.
That's true.
Why am I going to use something that they ain't going to understand?
Yeah,
that young individual needs to go on the journey of seeking.
Definitely.
Because you know what? He's got something in him called a conscience, and that will talk to him throughout his life.
100%.
That's the voice of the Most High inside him, talking to him. Come here, come and look at this. You might be talking to someone in town and they say one word that starts you off on a journey of that particular topic. And that brings you to something. So we must be seekers after righteousness and seekers after truth. And we must, whatever we find, we must apply to our life. And as we apply it, we will get more light.
And then I've got a philosophy as well. I just want to add to the question what I asked you. I'm a script writer, so I write scripts.
Okay.
So I understand that there's the balance of the two. You could call it positive and negative, left and right. But one thing what I know that the Most High is the script writer of everybody's life.
Yes.
So everyone's got backstories. You get it? And I think sometimes we can get caught up in I'm the main character, even though you are the main character in your world, but you're the psychic in someone else's world. You get it? So, but they're put around you because God is orchestrating this because you are meeting this individual, whether it's romantic, platonic. You're meeting them for a reason to exchange energies. And you may even, the ones who you disagree with the most, you learn from the most because as time goes by, you may say, that's what that person was thinking about. You know what I mean? And some people are stubborn and they won't never admit it. But like you said, we've all got a conscience. I just wanted to add that to that last part. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Answer to the call, because you're going to be called.
Definitely.
That young person is going to be, the Most High is going to talk. He talks to all of us.
100%.
It's just whether we listen and respond.
And then I think education doesn't talk about symbolism, energy, that we are the current. We have a bank within us. Even when it comes to the Bible, I realize it's talking about certain parts internal. In the mind.
Everything's internal.
In the heart.
The heart and the mind.
Jacob ladder is my spine. You know what I mean? So sometimes as well, it's decoding and having somebody who can translate the Bible in a digestible way, which is relatable because the text is so old. I'm a creative, so it's like I said, I write poetry. I used to rap. I love frequencies of music. I used to produce. So I've got interest in
those things.
But someone who hasn't, we need to find a way where we can tap in to them. Even if we, like one of my stories in the Bible is the story of Job. That's my favorite story.
Okay.
Of the whole Bible, that's my favorite story because it's like, it showed me, does Satan work for God, with God, or against God? Because how did he go back to the kingdom of heaven to talk to him about Job? And then God gave him permission.
All right, watch this. Shall I answer that for you quick?
Yeah, give me your perspective.
Okay. In the beginning, the scriptures say that Adam was given dominion, right? Over this planet. Correct?
Correct.
Luke 4, when the enemy goes to tempt Yeshua, he says, this planet's been delivered unto him. So when Adam obeyed Satan, he gave the planet over to him. So when Satan went back to heaven, then he was gonna go in as a representative of this planet because dominion had been given to him. He had a right to be there.
Makes sense.
But that would be a Bible study. I'm just giving you the quick synopsis.
Makes sense.
You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So, as one thing that you can see here is that you said it takes a lot of study. It's not this. It's not this. Sometimes as people, we like to debate and win arguments. And that's not the spirit of a student sometimes. When you're a student, it helps sometimes, but when you're a student, you look at things very analytically and reflectively.
100%.
And we need to develop more of a studious mind and stop saying things like, oh, that was written by them when we haven't even read it. Because I've had loads of reasonings with people, you know. And what I've noticed is they haven't even read it. They're saying what they're saying from videos.
Yes.
They haven't looked at it themselves.
That's true.
The level of ignorance of the scriptures is amazing. Like you see people, all right, then thousands of people have adopted this, I'm going to call it a European version of the scriptures, which is doing things that it doesn't even say. Don't talk about Christmas. Don't talk about Lent. Don't talk about going to church on a Sunday. Don't talk about none of them things.
Doesn't talk about.
So where did they come from?
Yeah. That's the true questions.
So why is everybody doing them?
Yeah.
It's a false view of the scriptures.
True.
And they see people doing it and think that's what the scriptures say, and it's not what the scriptures say.
Yeah. It's
so
true.
The level of ignorance, we have this thing where we keep ourselves enslaved, because we need to remember in slavery we weren't allowed to read.
Yeah.
So when you don't read now, you're just keeping yourself in slavery.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean just
voluntarily
read the scriptures. Read whatever you read. Just read.
Yeah. And read life itself.
Read nature. Read. Stop
Yeah.
this mentality where, that was given us by them. No, because if you ain't read it, you don't know what's in it.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Going 360 back to the story of Job.
Yeah.
Because I started with that point.
Yeah.
Just to add to what you're saying as well, is that the character of Job, his faith was so strong, you could see that he was reading spiritually what every circumstance was given to him. So he was very blessed in the beginning, and he was grateful. And as things was taken away, he was still grateful.
Yeah.
And he's seen, you know what, this story is beyond me, but I've got faith in the Creator, the Most High. And I'm not going to
give up that faith.
And I'm not going to, no matter what happens. And I feel that's what society uses against us. First to train us by television and media, and before that it was music, radio, to look outside of us and not within ourselves.
Yeah.
So if you don't look within yourself, how can you look within your family,
the
home family? And then how can you look within your kids and even your woman?
Yes, bro.
You can't see it.
Love thy neighbour as thy love thyself. That's 100%. One of my brethren's favourite scriptures. He loves that one.
100%.
And it's true. You can't love your you have to do it as you love yourself. So if you love yourself poorly, you will love your family poorly.
Yeah, 100%.
And if we have a self-hate, we was talking about this off camera.
Yeah.
There's this self-hate thing, and it's been tried to be pushed on us for a long time.
100%. And
we don't recognise it as that. It manifests itself in many different ways. I'm not going to go off on that tangent, but you can see it manifested in many different ways. You go into a education system, and nobody looks like you who's great.
100%.
No scientist looks like you. Nobody looks like you.
Nobody. Yeah, it's true.
So what does that do?
It's true. It makes you hate yourself.
Yeah.
Dislike yourself, and then you walk around discombobulated, trying to get through life. You know what I mean?
There you go.
So it does make sense, man. Hold on, I'm just going to move on to let me just look into my phone because I got questions. You've just kind of answered that question. What do you think makes a masculine spiritual man?
A masculine spiritual man, in a quick way to answer, is a man who is in the image of the Creator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's being given dominion, like at the beginning.
Yeah.
He has a responsibility over his family. Yeah. He rules his family with self-sacrificing love.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
He will
100%.
sacrifice for his family.
Yeah.
That means if he makes a choice, he considers everybody.
Yeah.
He does because love does what's best for us.
Yeah.
Love is not about this whole idea that we have of love and the way we use it. There's a word for love in the scriptures, that unconditional love. The Greek word is agape. Yeah. And that's the love we're supposed to be aiming for.
100%.
And when a man is loving like that, he will always do what's best for us.
Yeah.
You see what I'm trying to say?
I see what you're saying.
And that's why it's so hard, because we've come away once again from the standard.
So you feel like, going off what you're saying, this is my interpretation of it, that men need to unite more and formulate a righteous standard to help better society.
Yes. To be better fathers.
Yeah.
To be covenantal husbands.
Yeah.
To run their family as the head, that the headship the Most High gave them in the first place. Which is why when Adam and Eve sinned, whether you believe the story or not, the first person that got spoke to was Adam.
Yeah.
Because he had responsibility.
Yeah.
He named Eve.
Yeah, definitely.
You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And how can you have the person who's been given the most responsibility have so much lack of accountability? You can see where the problem's coming from.
Yeah. I get that.
And then you have society pushing on us. There ain't no this and there ain't no that. I mean, where are we going to be in 10 years' time with them kind of philosophies?
Yeah, definitely we're going to be lost. If we continue the way things are going, we're definitely going to be lost.
You get what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And I want to make it clear. Stevie Wonder can see that there's a war going on God's standards. Anybody who can't see that, something's wrong with them.
Yeah.
Because this thing with these ideas are attacking the family. It's a war. Definitely. And as people, we need to be awoke to that.
Yeah.
Understand there's a war going on. So when you're sending your kids to these Babylonian schools, just know what they're doing. You better be aware.
Yeah. They're working against nature.
Yes, bro.
Yeah. Makes sense. It makes sense. So, would you say that a lot of men in modern day society lack emotional intelligence?
When you say emotional intelligence, can you define it for me a bit?
Yeah, because the emotion is energy in motion, which is what you're saying. It's nature, it's everything in creation, it's all the elements.
Okay.
Yeah, so, say if a man cries, you can say man up. That's what you usually hear from a man or a woman. Man up.
Yeah.
Be tough.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying don't be tough. We need to have strong minds and be strong physically, but we also need to be strong emotionally, because if we have to deal with women, they're emotionally driven by nature. So if we can't navigate our own emotions, how can we then navigate our counterparts' emotions? If that makes sense.
Based on that reasoning, the answer is yes. We as men do lack emotional intelligence. And what I do think is as well, though, is you can rectify that. Yeah. I think anything can be rectified through education, when someone has a drive to find something. Like if I told you there was a field, with £1 million right now, and you had the drive to go and dig up for that, you'd go and dig up the whole field. Whatever it takes, that's what you give up all to dig up the field. And sometimes I think as men, this is how we need to be with these things. We have to want them.
Yeah, I like that analogy, man.
Yeah, we have to want them, bro. Yes, there is a big lacking of it, but there's so much education out there for it now that you just have to go and get it, educate yourself and practice the principles, because you got children to deal with as well as females.
As females.
You're all dealing with emotions.
Yeah.
When your young daughter comes to you now, you've got to mirror to her how a man's supposed to treat her, or when she sees how you treat her mum, then that's what she's going to believe in her head, how a man's supposed to treat me.
That's 100%.
That's the first school. This is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So when she leaves that situation, she's going to leave with a certain understanding. If it was a healthy relationship where emotional intelligence was shown, she will have that will already be in her.
Yeah. Definitely.
And she will expect that from the guy who she chooses.
Which is, if it's not done in the right way, it's just continuous.
It's just continuous
dysfunction.
This is what we're talking about, and this is what we can see in our community.
Yes.
If we're gonna, and we have to embrace that we can see this. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So what I would also ask you is, are you going to set up like a men's help group?
There's a men's group already set up.
Yeah.
My brethren's got one online. That one's available to do. Yeah. I'm not looking to set up one myself, not right now. But if someone came to me and said they want to set up one, I'll be a part of it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, man.
Because I've got some other things that I'm doing right now, which will help the situation too. Yeah. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So I'm not oblivious to that. But to be fair, my profession was youth worker and a teacher.
Okay.
That's my profession.
Yeah. I'm a youth worker.
Youth worker, you get me? That's what I did years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I realised that one of the problems was as well is when they removed youth work. Remember, we could go Oaklands before.
Yeah.
That means when you never had a dad, that youth worker in there who you get on with is like a mentor.
Yeah.
You ain't got a dad, innit?
You ain't got
so
a
you might
dad.
say, I'm gonna go. You know how Oakland. We had do that pandy road for you. We had the talk to you and say nobody go do that pandy road. You're gonna get yourself in trouble, and that one thing might stop you from getting locked up.
Yeah. Give you that navigation.
And the youths don't have that no more.
It's true. And even if I think there's Lighthouse in Aston. There's just one or two. But then it's like now it's like kids, because there's so much rivalry over postcodes. They don't want to go to that area.
They don't want to go to
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And even just talking about postcodes, like we should be thinking universal.
Yes.
They got us thinking in postcodes and countries.
That's why we have to start with the family, though.
It's a narrow-minded kind of...
It's a narrow-minded
mindset. You get you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah.
That's why, because you have to run... The segregation has been there from the start. If you look at colonialism, I just come back from Gambia in December. Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm like... Gambia is actually part of Senegal.
Okay.
But watch this. I think Senegal was conquered by France.
Yeah.
And Gambia may have been conquered by England. So in Senegal, they speak French. And in Gambia, they speak English.
Okay.
But what you realise is it's people going in there and separating them.
Yeah, definitely.
They were part of one thing.
Definitely.
You understand what I'm saying?
When you look at most cultures, like ethnicities, I don't really like that terminology because I feel we're all one.
Yeah.
But if you look at most ethnicities, like even the Asian community, you've got the Pakistanis, you've got the Sikhs, and then when you look at I went into a Gurdwara once because I was supporting a young person who was Asian, so I had to go into a Gurdwara, and they told me the story that there was all one at one stage. So I was thinking, but how did you get to have all these different
going into and this is why I'm saying if we start with the family, we're starting from the foundation brick.
Yeah, makes sense.
So if there's unity between you and your kids now, that spreads, then you're a demonstration, an example. You're a light now in your community. They see a family that's together. So now everyone looks at you and they're an example. You don't know that's what they're looking at you as, 100%. But they're looking at you like that.
Because I've been an advocate of exactly what you're saying. You know what I mean? I'm single right about now, but I'll be like, a man will come to me and talk to me about his relationship, and I'll be like, I'm not in a relationship, so you think I'm the best person to get advice from? What, first and foremost? But then secondly, I'll be like, you need to find balance and try and work through it, because you can leave that relationship, go to another, but you're gonna face the same plus more because you've got that one there, what you've already kind of set up. Then you're gonna try and set up another foundation, and I'm talking from my own experience. I made a lot of mistakes, you know what I mean? So, but now I'm an advocate of keeping people together, building those families.
Come on, fam.
Sometimes a little manure needs to be put on your garden for things to be fertilized.
Come on, fam.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
bro. You need to be covenantal, man. Serious. It's actually very serious, and I feel like that's where the unity is gonna start from.
Yeah.
Once that the families are healed and people see, what I see some females post it on. They'll show like black love.
Yeah.
And I like it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, because you see two actually being nice to each other.
Nice.
You haven't got this picture of these that are always fighting.
Yeah.
Which is what I think that's the picture that people have of us.
Yeah, definitely. And just being aggressive. I was in Nando's yesterday, and I went in there. I like to have the 4 fries and chips. So they've said to me they got low stock, so I can't have that, and I need to have the alternative, which is a pita bread. So I was just like, I don't want that. I go to customers always right, consumer law, So then it was a white guy who was serving me. So then the black guys come in, like the white guy looked slightly intimidated because I was upset. I wanted what I come in to pay for. You know what I mean? I wanted the service. And then the black guys tried to talk to me, and I said, listen, are you out of stock and you ain't got none? He's like, no, we're low on stock. Then I just had to say to him, listen, that's a Nando's problem. That's not my problem. If I was to go to JD and they've only got 2 pairs of trainers in my size, they have to give me that's what I want. You know what I mean? And he was like, no, that's it. I goes, listen, bro, I own my own business. You get me? And I said to him, I don't want to be aggressive towards you. I just want what I came in here for, because I always have that meal when I come in here. I'm that kind of person. I eat the same thing what I like. Yeah, I'm a habit.
Neurological pathways.
Yeah, my synapses was like, yo, we need that chicken. But anyway, I got it in the end, and then there was a couple of females with me, one being my son's mum, and their friend was like, you got the meal? And she's looking at me, but you never shouted, you never done this, you never done. And I had to say to her, there's many other ways to skin a cat.
Yeah.
And us as black people, we need to understand that we got the capability of approaching situations like that. I goes, if I never got it, I would have ate my meal peacefully, and then I would have went back and got all their names. I would have got the head office's address. Then I would have went on all the social medias and said how dissatisfied I was with the service, and I would have got compensated some way, somehow. But a lot of us come from the street, and the street culture is blow up. That's what we do. You get it? It's in me. You get me? You know what I mean? But we need to now learn to navigate and communicate in a more universal and effective way, because they just look at us like, oh, I was pulling the race card and all I want is chicken. Yeah, you're black, you like chicken, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of them.
Articulating yourself correctly in different environments and situations.
Yeah.
Important as well.
Very important. You know what I'm saying? Very important. And the history of it that we've created. A lot of these, the original language, which was the clicking, which turned into the Morse code, what they've invented, which then turned into ABC, 1, 2, 3, because letters and numbers are the same. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, going on to the next question is, if you could give your younger self a message, what would it be?
The message I would give is, I've kind of said it more than once, but I'm going to say it again. Seek the Creator and righteousness while you have time.
Yeah.
Especially in youth. There's nothing better than a righteous young person.
Definitely.
Because the mistakes that we have made, they won't make.
100%.
You follow what I'm trying to say?
I follow you.
So the earlier you start that journey of seeking righteousness and seeking truth, the better you'll come into contact with the principles that help you to navigate through this evil world. And we're living in a time where a lot of people are dying quick too.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you look at society as a whole, there's a lot of things to hinder our spiritual growth, whether it's the food, the educational system, employment, living conditions. You know what I mean?
The time that you get to spend with your kids, because you feel so pressured. You got to provide.
Yeah.
That you might not have the time that you want to spend with your kids.
Just running around and spinning plates. Yeah, definitely.
That's what I would say to my younger self and to any young person. Come into contact with the Lords of the Most High and seek them now while you have time.
Yeah, I get that.
Ecclesiastes says that seek ye the Lord in the days of your youth.
Yeah.
Understand?
I understand.
So that's what I would
comprehend. But yeah, man. Thank you, Ace, for coming on the platform.
Bro, it's been a pleasure. I feel like the conversation could have went on for longer.
Yeah,
so much gems.
Yeah, definitely.
You know
but like I said, man, you're welcome back on the platform, and we're gonna encourage you to come back on the platform. This is just like an introduction to yourself, and there's gonna be other different topics what we're gonna touch on.
Yeah.
We'll have different individuals here with yourself as well, so we get like a more diverse perspectives, because that's also important when it comes to knowledge, is to look at it from a multitude of different angles.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? And don't just be stuck in your ego, like my way's the correct way.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying, bro? But say like if someone's watched this podcast and they want to get in touch with you, or they just want to hear you speak again, if you got socials?
Yeah, man. Ace1 and ODB. You know, that's my Instagram.
Yeah.
So if you type that in, my Instagram will come up. There's Facebook as well. That's Ace1 and ODB too. Yeah. So you can find me at any of these places. I got some music coming out soon as well. A single. It's called Dispersion Rhythm, produced by Screamer.
Okay.
That's one of the first releases I've got coming out soon. So yeah, I'm active with the music, but just know my brand, the Man of Sense brand, is a conscious, righteous brand.
Yeah.
That's what I'm pushing.
We need more of that though.
Of course.
Like if you go back to, like you said, early reggae days, before it turned into bashment, you could play them tunes now, like tunes what my mum used to play. I'll play it now, and I'm like, bro, like I kind of got it when I was younger.
But you get it more now.
I feel it now, bro.
Feel it now.
Get me? I comprehend it now. It's like the tune slap me. Like, can you see what's going on?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of them, man. But like I said, I'm gonna say it again. Thank you for coming onto the platform.
Yeah,
Keep on pushing your positive message.
Yeah, man.
You get me? Like I said, you're a very charismatic, intriguing individual, which just makes me, I've learned a lot of things while I've been here, because I'm still learning. I don't care how old I am. I want to remain open-minded to learn more knowledge. So you've given me a few gems in my own head to think about. Yeah, I'm doing that, but can I brushing it up? Can I restructure everything so it's more stable and more functional for myself as well? You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
But thank you for coming on, bro.
Yeah, man. Bless.
Yeah, man. Have a good day, man.
Yeah, man. Bless up.
Respect. There you have it, man. Another episode of Hood Conscious. We out. Peace.